Everything may have a time and a space. We're not wearing bell bottoms anymore. We're not wearing neon anymore.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I don't know what you do at the end of the day, but.
Also, bell bottoms are back in. I don't know if you knew.
All right, folks, in this episode, we're going to be discussing why a good idea may not be the best product. You got a good way to frame that up.
Products and ideas sound really good after a couple glasses of wine with your buddies or wife or whatever. You're sitting there talking and get your creative juices flowing, liquid encouragement, whatever you want to call it. But it's really easy to get really excited about that at that point. And I think, like we've talked about, is setting expectations going into that next phase and making sure that you're doing all of your research and homework to make sure that your idea is one, creative and new and nobody else is doing it, or is it even feasible, plausible, manufacturable? There's a lot of things to talk about. But that idea phase, we talk about it in our workbook. It's a fun phase. It's kind of like the honeymoon phase of marriage.
And it's also
a new relationship.
It's also the phase that is that's obnoxiously long, because there's so much to discover in vetting out the idea and then making sure it can be made. And I think we're seeing our first giant fundamental shift in this whole project of, you have an idea, is it really a good idea?
Yeah.
And then beyond that, can it even be made? And I think a lot of folks, we see a lot in our industry where people want to take stuff that we make and reuse it for something else. I mean, all the time.
Yeah.
They're wanting to do something different. And they get upset, they'll call customer service, hey, my thing broke. They're like, well, what were you doing with it? And we're using it for not what this thing was intended for. Okay, that's not on us, right? Because that's beyond the scope of what this product is made for. And I think a lot of times you'll see people trying to take products from other industries and adapt them for whatever that fix is, and which is great in the prototype phase, but that's not where you're going to put out at the end of the day long term.
You have to do that on the prototype phase and the idea phase. I'm constantly thinking about reusing products, and even my products. You've done it with my products. I got a picture from you a couple weeks ago, some bread proofing on our trays.
Right.
So, but it is an important part of the getting to that manufacturing phase of proving out your ideas. And chances are, if you're able to kind of put a few products together and make something work 75% of the way there with existing products out in the world, you probably got a good concept.
So let's pretend you're sitting at the airport and somebody comes up to you and you start the horrible thing of small talk, and you have to talk with this person. They find out what you do. I would think that this has probably happened before. I've got a great idea, and they start explaining what.
Usually family members.
Right. What are some early things that you tend to ask, leading questions, to get them thinking about, is this really a good idea?
Yeah. Does it work? Do you have a prototype? Are you willing to spend some money? Money's kind of tacky to talk about, but it's important because it's going to cost a significant amount to get up and rolling. So, proof of concept. Do you have a proof of concept? That's kind of the prototype. Then if they answer yes to all those, do you have a drawing?
It's also one of those things, and I'll equate this back to our company. A lot of times, man, people call in and be like, hey, we got an idea for you. I'm going to stop you right there. Just so you know, we're working on dozens of ideas. I mean, we have a whole department that brings products to life.
Yeah.
So before you talk to us about whatever, just know that it's a high and we've never heard an idea that we hadn't considered, have already tried out, or currently working on.
Yeah.
We've never heard of an idea that's like, that is something.
Yeah.
We've seen variations of ideas that are very clever, and we've either worked with them or helped them or declined any of it. But
I think the most important, sorry to cut you off, but I think the most important question I ask too, if they say yes to all those, is where are you selling it? What's your sales avenues? Who are you going to go after? I mean, that's a very important. For me to know that somebody's serious, they've thought through that.
Well, where I was going was, if you have this idea, it's highly likely that somebody else has either thought about it, pursued it, currently making, or it's already out there, you just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, yeah. We've talked about this too, is Amazon search. Get on Amazon, be as specific as you can, Google search, whatever, but usually Amazon, because that's where everybody goes to sell their products. And just be specific on what you're trying, your product description. Put your product description in Amazon, see what comes up. It's good. That's knocked me down a couple times.
I've also had good luck with like Granger, Fastenal, like I think about a lot of like trade stuff, right? So like if you're in the trades, plumber, carpenter, electrician, whatever, and you have an idea for your industry, go find those very specialized catalogs for that industry and just really take a look at it. McMaster-Carr is a good one to look at because they got everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And you'll often find either stuff to help you prototype or, damn, they already made it.
Yeah. And there's a reason you haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
Because it probably didn't work.
Right. So what about the ideas, and you kind of talked about this already, that legit, they can be made well, it's a great idea, it serves a niche, but it still fails. The business itself still fails because they haven't thought about, to use your example, where am I going to sell this?
Over talk about, and sometimes people get a little like, why do you care? Why are you asking so many questions about that? Because one, I don't want you to spend money you don't need to. If you're not doing the other steps, if you're not thinking, 2 months, a year down the road already, you're just going to be throwing cash away. I don't want anybody to do that. Also, I don't want to waste my time either. So I really hammer on what's your target audience? Do you have an audience? And why is this differentiating than everything else that's out there? So I'm gonna, if you come to me, I'm gonna hammer you on your sales avenues. Because if we don't have that, then your product's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, and a lot of part of the reason we made this this project is for people, social media influencers that could very well likely put their own branded product out there, and it could be. I could see a makeup influencer having a tray or an organizer or something like that, which there's already trays, there are already organizers.
Yeah.
Just because you have an audience doesn't mean it may not be worth the full scale of what we're talking about in this project, from designing to tooling and everything else, but it could be.
Right, and there's other options too. I've had people come to me and say, hey, I want to do this, and let's talk makeup, because you've got your makeup holders, right? You've got, sorry ladies, I don't know all the terminology on this, but you've got your makeup holders. There's people out there that's all they do. They just make up, they make makeup products. And so probably a better avenue would be to go to a brand that does white labeling and create something of your own there. It's a lot less cost up front. If you have something that's going to just revolutionize the market, and then we'll get after it. If you want something that specific, we'll help you through that. But my value add is I'm going to look through all that and tell you probably the best avenue.
And everything that you could push them through has a cost associated with it. Okay, so let's break this down to, I have this product, it's mass market appeal, and the difference in that is our company makes stuff for the farming industry, and very specific within the farming industry and smaller farmers. So we're not going to be selling to Walmart, we're not going to sell to Target, possibly someday, but right now, no.
Right.
And the reason that's important is we can sell direct to the consumer through an e-commerce platform. If we went through Walmart, we're going to have to get likely some more testing done. We're going to have to for sure get retail packaging, SKUs, which it's a whole nother ballgame of, do we package this at the factory? Is that an extra cost? Yes. Do we do this through a third-party fulfillment? Do we do it at our warehouse? We need room to make those kits. We need room to store those special packages. It's going to have to be boxed different for their distribution centers.
Yeah.
We may have to consider, is this going to, if it's going to go on an action alley inside of a Walmart, does it have to have its own palleted display? And then, oh, by the way, if you're shipping this internationally, you have to have special pallets. Is that something, like, all of that stuff adds up real quick, and unless you have a much longer runway to sell to everybody, or I do want to put this project up against something like Shark Tank is out there. You got these investors, they're battling. You'll see a lot of times at the end of it, it's not about the money. It's about using their network of distribution and partners.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. They're completely profitable.
Because they already have all this infrastructure in place.
They've got sales channels everywhere, and that's who they're pitching to. A lot of those guys going into Shark Tank they want one specific shark, and it's because they know that industry, whatever they're in, and they know how to navigate and sell a lot. So, yeah, I think that's important. You've got the entrepreneur, you got the creator, you got to make sure you've got somebody on the business and sales side that's looking out, and maybe you can do it all, but it's very rare.
How often are they fully able to describe a product to you and why it is needed?
50% of the time. That usually cuts like who I'm going to continue conversations with. I want to, as long as they can give me the purpose, as long as they can give me the purpose and the differentiating factor of what they're bringing to market, that's usually good enough. But inner workings, it's usually, hey, I want it to do this. Okay, you're going to need either mechanical or electrical engineer involved in this. Do you have one? No, and I'm usually referencing that out to some people in my network. So not very often, 50-50. They've kind of thought through that, especially early stage.
Could another stop point be, hey, this product, yes, it can be made. Yes, it's a good idea. Have you talked to people in the field that are going to use it? I'm going to go back to my example about the trades. A lot of times you'll see cheaper, better, quicker. Well, if we look at quicker, if we're only saving somebody a minute or two over the course of the entire day, is that worth the investment of somebody in the trades? Versus, hey, we're cutting a few seconds multiple times an hour all day long, all month long. That's something to consider.
Yeah, and that's normally you're in that field, right? If you're going through that, you've created a product that it's saving your time because your time's valuable, and everybody else in that trade's probably thinking the same thing. So I think that's further down the road when you start talking to other people in the same field to see if it would be worth it. But you bounce things off of people. Like I said, drinks, having a beer at the bar, you might bring it up to your buddies, your work colleagues. Hey, what do you guys think about this? They'll shut you down real quick if they,
Right.
Hopefully you got good friends that'll shut you down if they don't think it's worth it. But if you get a good feedback from everybody, then I think it's worth. And going back to, not everybody that comes, I've had people come to me and just say, hey, I've got this idea, or I've got this problem. I like those. Hey, I got this problem. Do you think you can manufacture something to help us out? And sometimes they're not even looking they're just kind of helping, they're just throwing it out there. Hey, maybe this might be something you can produce. I like that more than I've got an idea. I'm trying to solve this problem. Can you help me with it? And then we can start from ground zero. Then there's no emotions attached to the product or prototypes that they've made. Because a lot of times there's a lot of emotion. It's your baby. It's what you've thought about, dreamt of for the last year or however long you've been working on it. So I like the problem standpoint of, hey, I've got this problem. I want to solve it. How do we do it? Great.
then they're tapping into your network,
Yeah.
your knowledge,
Yeah.
your know-how of how things get built and how they can scale.
Yep. And then I take that to 3 people and say, hey.
Right. How squirrely do people get in the beginning about, hey, I'll talk to you, but I want you to sign an NDA and all this stuff? I mean, it happens.
Pretty standard.
Yeah.
Pretty standard. I encourage it, actually. Not that it really means anything at the end of the day. If somebody wants to get out of an NDA, they could probably do it.
And that's why I'm so upfront with people when people call and especially clients of ours that we've known for a while. And it's pretty often, hey, I've got this idea. I'm like, great idea. Here's the problem with it. I think recently it was some type of twist tie to secure a part of ours.
Yeah.
For storage for the winter. And I'm like, what if you made this part? What if you got a piece of rope? It's going to do the same thing. I can't bring something to market, make a mold, do all the processes that we'll cover in all these episodes for a part that's going to be 99 cents.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, unless you're selling millions.
Yeah. So a part that you're going to sell millions, utensils, throwaway containers, commodity items that are going to have to be replaced, not, hey, farmer may need 4 of these for half the year.
For a month.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. No, but it is important to at least hear those people out too. But going back to the NDA, I do encourage NDAs. At least it shows good faith. Doesn't mean there will always be good faith, but I'm always happy to sign an NDA. I'm not going to go out and shout it off the mountaintops. I want my customers to succeed.
And that also extends to your part, like people that you would bounce off of, which could be a supplier.
Yeah, and yes,
a designer.
And I would hope that the information that the feedback that I give them is confidential as well, which probably not. I'm probably
You're talking about feedback back to the client.
Back to the client, yeah. I've probably given away free advice more times than not, but that's okay too.
So let's take a look at this under the manufacturing line, in that injection molding is going to reveal some of this really quick, and that's going to come from design, tooling cost, and the necessity of, you're not just going to make 1 or 2 things. You're going to make thousands of items to make this even worth the cost of the tool itself.
Yeah, back to sales channels. You better have sales ready when you start cutting that tool. I've been in those situations where they've purchased pulled out another mortgage on the house just to pay for a tool that they didn't have sales for. Great idea, a lot of emotional decision to buy the tool, and $100,000 down the drain. Drop of the hat.
What about the difference between this notion of, and I think this is going to tie into the buyers, the person that comes to you has the most clear idea, they know how they're going to sell it, they know the message, I find that at this point, no sales, pure emotion, pure adrenaline. They're the marketers, they're the sales team, they're the warehouse guy, they're the inventor, they're the administrator, they're all these things that we on our side of the company have to be. But they're also working a full-time job, their parents, their husbands, their wives, they're this, that, and the other. I don't think at this point that they're fully vested into, we're not just making a product, you're starting an entire company, from warehousing to logistics to doing your taxes to all of that. And it's real easy to get excited in the beginning without thinking about all of this stuff that has to happen even after the tool's made.
Get somebody involved. Don't do it all yourself. It's damn near impossible. You can, but
it happens every day.
Yeah,
and that's why we're here.
I know, but get somebody involved, because you're gonna either you're gonna get too big too quick, and you've got to get somebody quickly, and hopefully it's the right hire, or you start early on, bring somebody in, and maybe it's sweat equity that they're willing to help out with, but even just packing, warehousing, pay somebody to do it. You got to sleep. You still got to be present with your family. So, not saying you can't. I love the grind. Like, get after it, but don't overstretch yourself at the beginning to the point where you just don't have the energy on the backside.
I want to make a couple of assumptions. Tell me if I'm true or wrong or not. We're a little bit different in that we're a more established company. We go to an idea. We bounce stuff around versus somebody that they come to you, however they wind up finding you, and they have this idea. You have reservations about it for any host of reasons. How are you acting as a counselor to some degree to go, look, I've always found that you don't shy away from giving people bad news. And oftentimes you're offering a solution at the same time. Hey, this could be an issue for this reasons. Why don't we look at option B, C, or D?
Yeah, it's always, I do that almost with every customer because nobody's bringing me anything that's perfect. Nobody's brought me something, other than established companies where it's like, hey, we've got this part, we need you to make it, we need to retool. Okay, got it. But even then, I'll ask, hey, do you want any changes? Do you want to look at any, do you want to lightweight the part? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?
And they don't even know that that's an option.
Right. So I'm constantly trying to pick apart or ask leading questions of what if you looked at it this way, or what if can we tweak this? Can we tweak that? And try to make it their idea too. That usually goes better than if I just outright say, you need to change this. I've had those conversations too. Like, this will not work unless you change this. Counseling is a good way of putting it. Not very often you go to a counselor and they just rip you apart, but they ask those leading questions. They want you to think about it.
They help you get there.
They help you get there. And that's a majority part of my job, is trying to, because I don't know everything. I ask questions for my benefit. What does this piece do? What does that piece do? Can we change this? Can we do this? Can we lighten this up? It would help you out with cost. Can we thicken this part up? It looks like it's going to have a lot of stress, and kind of getting into the weeds on that. But asking leading questions is the way I do that, and allowing a think tank to happen naturally.
You're also asking people to do this when they're very excited.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a financial consideration. I've already got money in this. Mm-hmm. I want to retire. I want to whatever. You're asking people to not only slow down, but to slow down for a very long time, mm-hmm. to speed up the downstream process at the end.
If you go into it too quickly, there's going to be a mistake. We've talked about it. I made my own mistake recently, and I just was too fast on the trigger, and it was an easy part.
And sometimes you have to just make a decision.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to jump. But no, I've had to, in another project, I've had to, hey, slow down. I need tool quotes. I need part price. Okay, let's get a part. Let's get a part model first, and then we'll start, and then make sure that that's exactly what you want. And we're about 5 weeks now and made 3 changes to the part model before we started to cut tooling. So I'm sure it's frustrating at times for my customers and clients, but at the end of the day, it saves them a lot of money and time.
How accurate is the statement that every single decision in manufacturing is not really black and white, but more of a trade-off?
Yeah, all of them. All of them. You're always trading something: strength, weight, time,
cost.
Always. Very rarely you got a one-size-fits-all material. I'd say about 90% of the time.
Is there such thing as a perfect product?
No. I don't think so.
Quick no.
I don't think so.
Everything has a failure point.
I haven't found one. I'd love to find one. No, there's not a perfect part out there. There's not a perfect product out there. There's very good products out there, but I've never seen a perfect product. Do you have one?
No, absolutely not. Everything has a lifespan. Everything has a usefulness. Everything may have a time and a space We're not wearing bell bottoms anymore. We're not wearing neon anymore.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you know, I don't know what you do at the end of the day, but
Also, bell bottoms are back in. I don't know if you knew. Each one of my daughters have bell bottoms.
okay. Well, old man stands corrected.
They look a lot cuter than when you wore them, though, I'm sure.
All this is playing very nicely into what the next episode is going to be is why do you feel so busy but feel stuck at the same time? And it's because these decisions, you're deciding some of these trade-offs. So
There's lead times for everything.
Everything. So we'll cover that in the next episode. Thank you very much.